After 2,000 years, the prophetic sound of the harp of David is heard once again in the land of Israel. And these biblical harps will return to the temple in Jerusalem one day, where 4,000 harps and lyres were once played by the Kohanim and Levites in musical prayer during the 3 pilgrim festivals. Sponsoring a harp for the temple, a project started by Harari Harps, has given good-hearted people all across the globe an opportunity to partner with them in the reconstruction of these sacred biblical instruments, to be played once again in the future temple. Along with the destruction of the Second Temple and the exile of the Israelites came also the exile of the biblical harp. On the way to Babylon we hung them upon the willow trees, and the sweet sound of the harp of David was all but forgotten. These ancient harps did not exist until 1982, when Micha Harari built one as a present for his wife Shoshana.
News to get to, but we begin with a developing story that is just cleared for publication about a deadly attack on a group of armed terrorists who had crossed into Israeli territory from Syria. Thanks for tuning in for your daily dose. IDF planes overnight attacked a group of men armed with suicide belts and at least one fully automatic AK-47 rifle. The men had crossed 650 feet into Israeli territory along the Golan Heights border, but had not yet crossed into Israeli, over the fence into Israeli communities. Reports coming in now from Arab outlets that Israel killed 7 would-be attackers. These are photos just into the newsroom showing some of the weapons used. And another development within the last hour, the Interfax news agency reporting Russia is sending military police to the Israel-Syria border over the security risk. Here now is Israel's defense minister, Avigdor Lieberman, a short time ago.
From our point of view, the situation is returning to what it was before the civil war. That means there is a clear address, there is responsibility, and there is a central government. We do not intervene and are not intervening in the internal affairs of Syria, but only on condition the following 3 conditions are strictly observed. Stringent adherence to the separation of force agreement of 1974. Syrian soil cannot serve as an Iranian forward base against Israel. Syria cannot be the principal way station for the transfer of weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon.
A Massachusetts man has been convicted of carrying out a cyber attack on a Boston hospital's network. The attack was made on behalf of the protest of the hospital's treatment of a teenager at the center of a high-profile custody dispute. A federal jury in Boston found Martin Gottsfield, 32, guilty of 1 count of conspiracy to damage protected computers and 1 count of damaging protected computers. Gottsfield also has accused prosecutors of ignoring what happened to the teen at the center of the case and of not telling you the full truth.
Thousands have been forced to flee their homes and at least 10 people have been killed by widespread flooding in Myanmar this past weekend. On Saturday, July 28, President Win Myint visited areas in central Myanmar to meet with displaced residents. He instructed officials to boost efforts in providing temporary shelters and aid. Nearly 100,000 people have been displaced by the floods, according to the Disaster Management Department. Officials have advised people to take necessary precautions as the torrential rains continue to pummel the region. Knut Osby, United Nations resident coordinator in Myanmar, has expressed great concern about the devastation the country is facing. Osby added, the UN in Myanmar is mobilizing its partners' resources and capacity to provide support to the ongoing assistance needed in the country. For United News International, in Metro Manila, I am Win Win.
לי פאה, והחזה שלי נפל לפני חצי שעה, נולד לנו הלך.
Details on child sex abuse allegations in the Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, has released the names of 71 clergy members who have been accused since the 1940s. The list includes 37 priests. Nikki Batiste has been following the story and joins me now on set to discuss this. Nikki, I'm curious, why now? Why this list now?
So this is a big move in a much larger picture. For the last 2 years, 6 of the 8 dioceses have been under investigation by a grand jury. The previous 2 dioceses had previous grand jury investigations, making this the first statewide grand jury investigation into Catholic sex abuse ever in the history of the U.S. We're talking bigger than Boston. That report will be coming out in the next week or so. There's a holdup. People are fighting over redaction of names. But that the Harrisburg Diocese, which is one of the 6 in this upcoming grand jury report, decided we want to come forward, we want to take responsibility, we want to get ahead of this. We've wanted to release these names to give some credence to our, the victims bringing these allegations, and they have. So it's a huge, huge step for them.